guys, how's it going? um, Today's video should suit the timing, I guess, of this, because again, it is currently June 4th. So, with that being said, June is obviously when school is ending. I know for colleges and universities that ended in like April, but not normal people, college students are normal too, but normal school ends in June, so at least for Canada. I don't know about the States, but for us it ends in June, and in the end of June normally, and then July, August is summer, and then September we go back to school. So that's at least for Canadians. I don't know how it is for anybody else. I'm pretty sure I heard a rumor that it's that you start school in August, and I was like, fuck that. Anyways, starting. Should probably tell you while we're watching, but you can probably see now. Mr. Nightmare, 3 Disturbing True Last Day of School Horror Stories. So we're not at the last day yet, but we will be there soon. So I want to scare you guys before you go for your last day, so you can be prepared what to do when you get these horror stories, if you get these horror stories, you know? So hopefully you guys don't have any horror stories, but hopefully just have good times and good memories, I guess, ending school, and then have a good summer vacation, unless you've already started. Then you don't have to worry about this. Then maybe you can just worry about the first day of school, which I'm sure I'll do a video in September. If he does a video about first day of school, then I'm sure I'll do a video like that too. Anyways, enough of me talking. I started this already. So yeah, 3 Disturbing True Last Day of School Horror Stories. I've never had any horror stories ending school. It's usually not a horror story because you're ending school. The first day of school is already a horror story because you're starting school, and that's hell. But if you're ending, it should be anything but a horror story. It should be fantastic. So let's see why it wasn't fantastic for these people, and let's go. And hopefully we can learn something from this. Because last days are always like, fuck yeah, you have to do nothing. CA.
This was something that happened so long ago that a lot of details are a little blurry. It's not like it happened yesterday. I'll try my best to fill in smaller details that I don't fully remember with how I best remember things played out. It was the last day of school.
You should have submitted this years ago, bruh.
I was in the 4th grade. 4th grade was the last year in our elementary school where kids had to be picked up by their parents. 5th graders were allowed to walk home on their own. Okay. My mom would always be the one to pick me.
How old are you at grade 4? 10, right? I'm trying to figure out how. Well, obviously you were young, but I know grade 8 you're typically 13, so 7, 12, 6, 11. So like 9 or 10. I guess he was 9 or 10 years old. Well, or she, I don't know. CA, but that's pretty young, so it's...
Me up. On the last day of school, my friend Dennis and I had a playdate planned to celebrate the last day of school. Dennis wasn't in my class this year, but we had been friends since kindergarten.
That's great.
He was in a different dismissal hallway from me. After school was over, we single file lined up and walked to the exit door at the end of the hall, where we waited outside by our teacher, Miss Blue. I waited for Dennis's dad to appear from the crowd of parents shuffling in and out of the parking lot next to the doors. Then I heard my name. Tommy, Tommy. I look over and see a man waving at me as he approached.
So I'm assuming it's a little boy, Tommy.
He introduced himself as Dennis's uncle and said he was picking me up.
Yep, that's how it always is. I don't know how these perverts like find out the kids' names. Like, how do you find out the kids' like unless you heard someone saying it? And obviously they're kids, right? They can fall for anything, which is why older people take advantage, which you really should not, obviously. But that's just fucked up how some people actually take advantage and say, yeah, I'm your uncle, and then freaking assault them. That's so crazy, bro. I can't even imagine.
I went over to Miss Blue and said I'm being picked up. She asked, where is he, sweetie? And I pointed to Dennis's uncle, who waved at Miss Blue. Miss Blue dismissed me, and I went with the man. He led us through the crowd and was a very quick and jittery talker.
Yep.
Like he spoke fast and had a bit of a stutter.
Yep.
He was walking incredibly fast. It was almost hard to keep up with him with my backpack on. He explained to me that his brother, or Dennis's dad, was working later than expected, so he was driving me back.
And you want to explain why you're rushing? Why you're rushing me out of here?
We got to his car, which was a dark red hatchback type car from what I remember, and it took me this long to acknowledge the giant elephant in the room. Where was Dennis? Why weren't we picking him up too? The man turned to look at me in the back seat and said that Dennis was already at his house. I was shy around people I didn't know, especially adults.
Yeah.
I wasn't one to openly speak my mind if I was confused, but I was very confused. This was making less and less sense. The whole drive, the man kept yapping, telling stories of his days in elementary, asking me questions like what sports I played, what we're learning in class. If I had to guess, we were in the car for like 10 minutes, which honestly, for our town where houses were right on top of each other, that was a while. My house was a 5-minute walk away from the school. We were definitely in an area I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, 5 minute walk, but then you're driving for 10 minutes? That's sus.
He parked the car in front of his house. His house looked pretty normal to me from what I remember. He led us inside and shut the door and locked it behind us. It was really, really dark inside the place, and I realized why. All the curtains were shut. It almost felt like it was nighttime in there, especially because the only source of light was a dim lamp in the corner of the room.
Sus.
He then looked at me and smiled. I said, "Where's Dennis?" And he started acting really jittery and nervous seeming. He said something like, "Oh, I think he's downstairs playing video games. Give me a second. Wait here." He then disappeared into a nearby room, and I heard a door open and then footsteps descending into a basement. I know my heart was already racing. I knew I was in danger. I went to the door to quietly try to open it, but I couldn't. It had some kind of lock that must have needed a key for. I really started to panic now.
Who has a door that locks, like, with the key from the inside? The outside, obviously, but, like, the inside? You need a key to unlock the door from inside. That's not sus at
I still
all.
probably held out a little bit of hope that Dennis would be coming up those stairs, but I knew the chances of that were slim. I regretted entering that house. I did the only thing I could think to do. I went to the kitchen and found a phone hung on the wall. I picked it off the receiver and dialed 911.
Smart
The
kid.
first thing I said when they answered was in a whisper, "Please come to this house. I've been kidnapped." They heard me. They acknowledged me. But I didn't say another word. I hid the phone under a towel in the corner of the room with 911 still on the line. I hurried back to where the man left me as I already heard his footsteps coming back upstairs. Then he called my name, saying, "Come down, Dennis is down here."
No.
Then there was a pause.
No, bitch. He's coming upstairs. He's coming upstairs, bitch. I'm not going anywhere. Except out that front door. I just muted it. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
Name. "Come down, Dennis is down here."
Yeah, you're fine.
Then there was a pause. He repeated my name, and when I didn't answer, he came up the stairs slowly to look at me. He asked me if I was okay. I felt so sick, and I was so scared. I hated myself for walking into this situation and not being wiser. I asked in a very scared voice if I could leave, and I remember the change in his face. His fake, friendly smile disappeared as he realized that I was no longer falling for this. He walked closer to me in a gentle manner until he was close enough to grab my wrist aggressively, and he started pulling me towards the basement.
Oh my god.
I screamed and cried, and he screamed at me, "I'll let you go if you stop and behave." So I listened. I went down the stairs, and halfway down, the door slammed shut behind me, and I heard it lock. I walked fully down the stairs to this empty, unfinished basement with a concrete floor and one singular support beam in the middle of the room. There was a depressing yellow glow in the room from one exposed light bulb hanging on the ceiling. If there was a place you'd imagine kidnapped children to go, this would be it. I heard his heavy footsteps upstairs. You could hear everything in this house. I don't know what he was doing, but I heard him walking around for a while. Then he came to the basement door, opened it, and he called down asking if I'm hungry. I replied no. I didn't want him going into the kitchen seeing the missing phone.
Or you don't want him to try to poison you, or I don't know, roofie you or some shit. Or poison you, you know what I mean? That's what I meant by roofie, like poison you or make you fall asleep or something, bro. Fuck.
He shut the door and locked it again. I sat down there, waiting, with my heart in my throat, and then I heard it. The doorbell ringing 3 times from upstairs, followed by banging sounds, which were definitely the sounds of police banging on the door. I would refrain from screaming until I heard the front door open, but I never heard the man's footsteps approach the door. The doorbell kept ringing, and I kept hearing the bangs. This went on for some time.
Fuck, this is gonna be nervous, bro, because, like, I assume the cops obviously just aren't gonna leave. Like, oh, well, we tried. Like, obviously they're gonna try to gain entry into the house, but it's like, bro, what's gonna happen? Like, is the kid gonna be okay? I assume he will be, because obviously, but fuck, bro.
Until I heard a really loud bang sound, and then multiple heavy footsteps and multiple screaming voices. I started screaming for help as loud as I could at the top of the stairs,
Scream it,
banging on the door.
Scream it.
The door was unlocked, and a police officer on the other side grabbed hold of me and hurried me outside. There were at least 3 cop cars outside. I had to tell everything to 2 of the cops outside as we waited for my parents to show up. The man from inside was brought outside and into a cop car in handcuffs.
Yes.
That was the last time I ever saw him.
Fantastic.
When my parents arrived on the scene, my mom was bawling her eyes out. There had already been a whole scene at the school as cops were called and Dennis's dad realized what happened. This man was a work associate of Dennis's father. When he somehow learned that Dennis's dad would be picking up Dennis and I from school on the last day, he seized the opportunity to do what he did. A complete sick fuck. I don't know how he found out what I looked like. As I got older, I never really asked for more details because I try not to think about it. My mom went to counseling with me for months after this incident. Let's just say my parents didn't have kind words for Miss Blue, not verifying if I actually knew the person picking me up. If I didn't think to call the police before he basically threw me in that basement,
Then you'd be fucked.
I know for a fact I'd be dead right now. This was like 17 years ago. That man might be out of prison for all I know.
17 years ago? So if you were 9 or 10, I'm just going to do it. So 9 plus 17, 26. Or 9 plus 10, 19. Wait, sorry. 9 plus 17 is 26. 10 plus 17 would be 26. Yeah, so 26 or 27. You're almost 30 now. And you almost died basically 20 years ago. That was honestly such a scary story, bro, because honestly that shit happens a lot. Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's the thing, because like obviously Miss Blue was like, you know, like where's he going, you know, or like, sorry, like who's your ride, and then, you know, he waved. But like he should have said, you know, like if the teachers know who the kid is normally going with, she should have questioned him more. Like, oh, do you know this man? No, I don't, you know? And then obviously, you know, because again, he could have died that day, bro. I'm so glad that he wasn't. Obviously, he's telling the story, but imagine how many kids, as adults, don't get to tell the story because they didn't even survive it. You know what I mean? That's fucking terrifying, bro. Fuck. That just kind of gives you like goosebumps, you know? Because it's like, oh fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like, what could have happened? That's weird. Tommy Gunn. So another Tommy, because we had Tommy in number 1, right? Or CA.
It was junior year of high school, and it was the last day of school. A lot of people cut school this day or left early after lunch period. My friends and I were some of the latter. It was a stormy, dark day. A bunch of people from our grade originally planned to hit the beach on the last day of school, but that was obviously canceled. So my smaller core group of friends decided to do something else.
So wait, in junior year, does that mean grade 9 and 10? Because like for us, there's 9, 10, 11, 12. That's high school. So obviously like senior would be a grade 12, but is senior also grade 11? And then junior is just 9 and 10? Or is junior only 9? Because I have no idea. Anyways, I'm just trying to like figure out how old these kids are to kind of get an idea of how they handled it, you know, based on their age. So again, the guy before being 9 or 10, that's freaking fantastic. This guy junior year, so I'm assuming he's 14 or 15.
There used to be an abandoned elementary school in town that hadn't been used for like 10 years.
Yep.
There were plans to tear it down by the year's end. So, still wanting to do something fun on the last day of school, we all agreed to break into the building and just fuck around exploring.
Yep, that's a great idea.
There were no cameras in that old building, and on a stormy day, no one would be outside monitoring the place or anything. So we all left after lunch period. Our friend Eddie already had a car and his license, so he drove us all to the abandoned school.
How old is he then? Again, if you guys are 14 or 15, how the hell do you already have a car and a license, bro? I just got my license at like, my full license at like 21 or 22. Damn.
Cool. The school was in the middle of a neighborhood, not on any main roads or anything. There was a back parking lot covered by overgrown bushes and trees on one side, and the walls of the school on 2 other sides. It was a perfect spot to park and go unnoticed. The place wasn't boarded up or anything, it was just locked up. Eddie had a baseball bat in his trunk that he took out to smash one of the windows of the school. I was honestly so nervous that even through the pouring rain, one of the houses over the fence would hear the smashing sound. We all watched and nervously laughed as Eddie swung the bat into the window in front of the car, and after a few good swings, smashing it. He pushed away the stray pieces of glass stuck to the frame with the bat, and then he waved us over. We one by one climbed through the window into the school.
This is now definitely breaking in.
My logic was that the school was being torn down anyway. What does a broken window matter? We all were inside the building now. The window we climbed through was...
Again, when I was like 14, 15, I was pretty stupid too, so fair enough.
It's actually one of the windows for a classroom. A lot of stuff was still left in the room, including the desks and some decorations on the walls. Based on the decorations, it looked like we were in a 4th or 5th grade classroom. It was very surreal to be inside of what was once an active classroom where little kids would come to learn. Now nothing but a cold, dark, and abandoned room collecting dust waiting to be destroyed. The sounds of thunder and lightning outside also added to the surreal feeling of it all. There were no lights on in the building. Power to the place was likely cut completely. We anticipated this though. The flashlights on our phones were plenty to get around and see. Even without them, it wasn't completely pitch black in there, as even though it was a dark day, some light was still creeping in through the windows and doors. We started traversing the hallways.
I feel like just the weather also makes it more sketchy. Because if it was, at least if it was like sunny, clear skies, blue skies, then it wouldn't be as creepy. But like a dark and stormy day, you're breaking into a freaking abandoned building, and there's lightning and thunder. That just adds to the scariness of it all. Like, you get what I mean? It's like being at home alone. It's like there's a dark and stormy night. Someone's out the door. That just makes it more sus. I feel like, I don't know.
Going from room to room.
That's just me, maybe.
Each classroom was still full of desks and chairs that hadn't been sat in probably a decade. We all four were in the same classroom when there was a sound that echoed down the hallway and into the classroom. We all went silent and turned off our lights for a moment. After a flash of lightning, we slowly accepted that it was probably nothing, so we continued on. We just went from room to room as our wet shoes all squeaked on the floors. Sneaking around wasn't possible, really. A lot of things in the school were visibly decaying. You could really tell no one had stepped foot in there in ages. As we neared the corner of the hall, I turned around just to look back down the other way, and at the doorway of one of the classrooms, it looked like there was something sticking out from the classroom. I asked my friends to also look. Their lights would maybe help see what it was. When all four of us were pointing our phone flashlights...
Bro, if this was what it looked like, I'm not being in there. Like, you must be crazy if you think I would step
toward the door, whatever that thing we were seeing was retracted into the classroom. All four of us quietly went, "Oh shit," amongst ourselves, and we started running down the intersecting hallway. We stopped when we were far enough away. It seemed we were in the kindergarten wing now. Then we heard another sound echo from down the hallway. It seemed we weren't alone. But who could be in here was the question.
Anybody, a homeless person, anybody. Like, I feel like homeless people would like try their best to be in it, because then it's still shelter, even if there's no bed, there's no like it's a shelter, and again it's thundering, it's lightning. Like, of course she'll want shelter, right? But I'm thinking about that. It's like a bang. It's like maybe your foot or something stomping on the ground, making like an echo sound, or it's like a dropping a book. That's kind of what it sounds like, dropping like a textbook, and it's like bang. It kind of sounds like a bang, right? Obviously, I don't know if that was the same sound, but I'm thinking that sounds like a bang or something. Not like a gunshot, but like some kind of bang. I don't know.
It seemed we weren't alone. But who could be in here was the question. The place was locked up, and every light in the building was off. The sound scared us into going into the first classroom we could find and shutting the door. It was indeed a kindergarten classroom. We were now concerned we'd get in trouble, so we waited in silence with our flashlights off. The rain was still coming down hard, and there was still thunder and lightning crashing every 20 seconds or so. Suddenly, the door to the classroom clicked open, and someone pushed it as it eerily creaked to a fully open position.
Oh my god, bro.
We didn't see anyone at the doorway, though, and the hallway was almost pitch black.
Fuck.
We all tried our best to stay quiet. Then, slowly, something appeared through the doorway. It was the shape of a head. We all saw it, and when there was another flash of lightning, we saw what it was. It was in fact someone's head, looking into the classroom directly at us.
Fuck, bro.
I started apologizing for all of us, saying we're leaving. The person at the doorway didn't move. They motionlessly and almost lifelessly just peered around the doorway in the classroom. Eddie asked, "Do you work here?" No response. Eddie had this moment clearly. He handed me the bat as he struggled to unlock one of the windows to slide it open just enough to crawl through. He crawled out first, then my other two friends, and I was last. Before I crawled out, I looked back one more time at the head at the doorway. I crawled through as quickly as I could, fearing I'd hear the person run up behind me and grab my legs. Once I was out, I ran to catch up with my friends who were already booking it back to Eddie's car. We drove out of there in a hurry and never looked back. The building was torn down later that year and has since been turned into a park. We never got in trouble for breaking in. To this day, we have no idea if that was some kind of worker or just some random person.
Probably a random person.
Either way, it was extremely creepy behavior on their part.
I feel like it was maybe just someone being homeless, or like maybe they were homeless and had a mental condition, or maybe just had a mental condition. Who really knows, right? It could be literally anything. Liz. I'm assuming this is a girl. I don't know. But I mean, before I wanted to get their ages. So again, like 14, 15, like, you know what's going on. you shouldn't break into a thing. Like, they probably knew it was wrong, but they're like, fuck it, we're kids, I don't care what's gonna happen, you know what I mean? And plus they're kids, like, you want to explore as a kid, right? Like, I don't know what I was doing at 14, but I was not breaking into abandoned buildings, that's for damn sure. I was way too scared for that. So those kids definitely have some, like, what's the word? Like, strength? No, like, just, like, what's the word? Like, they're, I don't know. Like, they definitely have some kind of, like, courage and just brave and courageous to go inside and do that, because I would not do that shit.
When I was a freshman in college, I took a chemistry class. It was really difficult for me. The tables were arranged in groups of 4.
So now it's college.
I sat at a middle table at the left side all the way to the end. Next to me was a guy named Zach. He was very awkward. He gave me Reddit moderator vibes. To describe his appearance,
Reddit moderator vibes?
he was like 5'8", he was a little overweight, and he had a really ugly, patchy beard. But he knew his stuff in chemistry. I think he was just good in school overall. We started to talk in a pretty cordial way when he noticed I sucked in class, and I would ask him for help. He started offering to do my homework for me, and he even let me cheat off him on tests.
Don't cheat, just let him tutor you, bro.
I never got any kind of flirtatious vibes from Zach, but that might have been because he was just too awkward to flirt in person.
I'm really awkward
He
too.
eventually asked for my number so that he could send me homework-related stuff. Obviously, I gave it to him. He was helping me out a ton and didn't give off any threatening vibes. He just seemed a little reclusive. Fast forward to the last day of class, and Zach did something completely unexpected. He asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him after class.
Wow.
I had no physical attraction to Zach in the slightest, and our personalities were complete opposites. But he did help me throughout the semester maintain an A, so I had to let him down super politely. I lied and told him I'm going away to Miami for the next couple of weeks and won't be around. He right away responded, what about
after?
when you get back? I felt like 2 weeks was long enough of a gap in seeing each other where he would probably lose interest. So I
Definitely not for me, because I definitely would have been like when I like somebody, like, you guys obviously don't care about this, but when I like somebody, I get like attached, and it takes me weeks, months to get over them. Like, if it's like a really like a strong attraction, or, you know, but it would not take me just 2 weeks. It would take me more than that, because I'm me though. Everyone's different.
said, yeah, I could be around, or something like that. He responded with a really cringy, cool, as he nodded his head in response.
Cool.
From here till the end of class that day was really awkward for me. After class, I left straight from my car and drove right home. I was a commuter, not a dormer, so after the last day of class was over, that was it. It was Thursday, and my other friends who went to the same school wanted to go out that night, so we hit town that night, and at some point, I got a text from Zach. He asked, when are you going to Miami? I told my friends all about Zach while we were drunk, how he got me an A, but now he wanted a date. My friends joked that I should just go on the date with him to be nice. I joked back sarcastically, yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's like leading him on though. Like, you don't want to do that. If you're really not into him, just tell him you're not into him, right? Like, you don't want to lead him on.
I told myself I'd respond to it later, but I was drunk and completely forgot to. The next day, I woke up to 2 follow-up texts, one with question marks, and then the next one, you're going to ignore me now that you don't need me anymore, right? So,
Ouch. Or ouch. What the fuck did I just say? Ouch.
I replied, hey, I'm sorry, I was packing. I'm going to Miami today. He replied almost instantly, saying, okay. Obviously there was no Miami trip, but he should have never found that out. Later that night, my girls and I went out again, and while out,
Bro, what if you run into him?
I got a scary text from Zach saying, I thought you said you were going to Miami tonight.
Ooh, he saw you. Oh my god, he saw you. Oh my god. Yikes. I guess you can make up, sorry, my flight was delayed, I'm going tomorrow, but then now you have to, when you lie, even if you're lying to let someone down easy, when you lie, you really have to, like, you have to keep them up. Like, you have to keep digging yourself into a hole, and then it's just harder and harder to lie, and then eventually the truth comes out. Just be honest. I get that he helped you, but it's like, you don't need to be rude to him. You don't need to say, ew, you're ugly, why would I just say, I'm so sorry, I have a boyfriend, or sorry, I really don't like you like that, you know? It's hard, but I don't know. Honestly, that is a hard shit, because you don't want to break his heart, right? But at the same time,
I almost dropped my drink when I saw this. I showed it to my girls. They were all freaked out just like I was.
He sees you.
I replied to Zach, "What do you mean?" And he replied, "Nothing, forget it. I just don't like liars." I genuinely was scared that I was being stalked. I looked around the whole bar, but he wasn't there. At least as far as I knew. So what the hell? I just didn't answer. At that point, I never planned on answering him again. It wasn't until late that night, shortly after I got home, like literally taking my shoes off inside.
What
There
time?
were knocks at the door.
Fuck,
It
bro.
had to be like 1 a.m. I said, "Who is it?" And it was Zach on the other side. He said, "It's me." I wanted to scream.
Oh my god, bro, that's terrifying. I'm not, like, I know he helped you and he seems like a nice guy, but now he's being creepy.
I was home alone. I yelled through the door to leave, or my dad will come out and kick your ass. That seemed to work, as he didn't knock again. I texted everyone I knew about the situation. My family, all my friends. I was horrified. Some suggested calling the police. I said I would go to the nearest station tomorrow, but tomorrow didn't even come yet, when I received a super long, disgustingly weird and creepy text from guess who. I was appalled when I picked up my phone and read it. This is what it said. "I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now after being used by someone for months and then lied to, and hurt and anger are two of them."
Now, before I go on, this is obviously a real message. It's that classic. It's a real one. So I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now after being used by someone. So again, like, you didn't really specify that you wanted to date her in return. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't necessarily use you. Like, she asked you to help. You said yes. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely not any need for you to, like, lie to him, right? You could have just said, "Sorry, I'm not into you," but then, like, there's no, so I get that the girl was kind of in the wrong here, but it's like, I don't know.
I thought from the start of the semester in chemistry class that our chemistry was through the roof. No pun intended. I must say, I am hurt that you would make up something as elaborate as a 2-week-long Miami trip just to avoid going out with me. Even after I stuck my neck out for you all semester and risked my own academic standing. I definitely have noticed the way you looked at me sometimes in class, and I can't pretend there wasn't a hint of interest there.
So it seems like, I don't know, that's interesting too. Maybe he had the idea that she also liked him back, but that's when she should have elaborated and said, "No, I don't like." That's when she should have said at the end when you asked her out, "No, I don't like you like that. I'm sorry."
All I'm asking for at this point is for one date. That's it. I'm not asking your hand in marriage, though I surely would be quite an ideal husband to have if I do say so myself. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you needed more time to think over the prospect of going on a date with me. I know how much I have to offer, much more than these losers all over campus. If you want, I can come back to your house and we can talk about it in person. I am only making this offer once. I'm just very crushed to feel like I wasted so much this semester for nothing in return. Yours truly, Zach.
That's the thing. If this guy watched Darman, I've wasted so much for nothing in return. You should be nice for nothing in return.
I sent this to everyone. I didn't care that it was 3 a.m. I called my dad until he picked up, and I told him how scared I was. After he read the text, he took it upon himself to send Zach a lengthy text of his own, and he attempted to call him like 10 times, but Zach is clearly too much of a coward to pick up that phone call. I also went to the police station the next day with the text saying I wanted to press charges, and one of the people working there said that Zach would be contacted.
Press charges, like, for following you, I guess? I guess for stalking.
Zach never picked up any of the calls from the police who were trying to get him to come in for questioning, nor did he answer any of their text messages. Zach completely disappeared. I never heard from him again. Between the police contacting him and my dad's pretty scary texts and voicemails, that basement-dwelling creep probably was shitting himself. Luckily, I never saw him on campus again or anything like that. But I can say, I know what it's like to deal with an actual stalker.
I've never had a stalker. At least I think I didn't. No one likes me that much, I don't think. Which I guess is a good thing, because I don't want to be stalked. But that first one is just everyone's neighbor as a kid. A good thing the kid was smart to call the police before going in. Exactly. Well, no, he didn't call the police before going in. Yeah, like before going in the basement, yes, but not before going in the house. The teacher in the first was way too naive. At my old elementary school, you have to be on a list, and you had to have some photo ID to prove you were the person on the list, or you weren't going anywhere. That's smart. That's good. That's honestly really smart. That's excellent. Otherwise, because then nothing bad can happen, unless it's your parents doing something bad to you. But in that case, it's not the school's fault. I mean, that first story, while it was incredible, horrifying, but so uplifting to hear a kid making a good decision by promptly calling the police. Exactly, that's a fantastic kid right there. As for the third story, don't lie, don't take advantage of people, and you can avoid causing trouble for yourself and others. Exactly. I'm not gonna say it was the girl's fault because she asked him for help. He said yes. It's not like she blackmailed him and said, "Oh yeah, I'll go on a date with you after." Like, you know what I mean? That one's kind of iffy because like she didn't promise anything in return, right? So it's like you can't really say much. Man kept yapping. Gen Z, bro. Last day of school can be scary too. The way this guy always manages to find a new category of horror stories is such a skill. I swear there's gonna be like millionaire like horror stories next. I had to let him down super politely. I lied. Lol, how polite of you to lie. Yeah, like polite, being polite. Just be polite. Be honest though. Be honest, bro. We all agreed to break into the building and fuck around. Ah yes, juniors being juniors, and have they never heard fuck around and find out? That's true. That's very true though. The third story, she should have just been straight up rejected him and be honest instead of giving him hope. Exactly. That doesn't excuse him being a stalker and creep though, but given how you never know how someone will react when you reject them, that's probably why she lied initially. Well, this blew up, lol. 3,500 likes. Proceeds to be lying. Yes, exactly. Super polite to lie. Okay, this guy's going over all the stories. I'll do a couple more comments and I'm gonna head out. 1, a crazy person. Very sad, very common. 2, most likely a homeless person. A lot of homeless people will take place in abandoned buildings. The man was likely just trying to scare them out, so authorities didn't come and get him out. It could be on drugs as well. It's possible that the man knew the building was being torn down and decided to leave later on. The third one has a lot of words to say. A man that probably has a hard time in his social life and getting girls at school. He was probably just so fed up that's why he, 1, was mad, and 2, didn't want to give up. It is pretty weird that he showed up at your house late at night, but he was most likely drunk or suffering from resentment and depression. The end text was not as stalkerish as I thought it may be, but it could be interpreted in a threatening tone. Most likely not. That's not what it was intended as. And when the calls from her dad and police station snapped him back to reality, that's when, yes, he was probably shitting himself and decided it was best to just avoid her from now on, for people trying to find the reality of beloved horror. The last guy definitely was a creepy asshole, but to be real, the girl made everything more complicated than it should be. That's why she didn't tell the guy she wasn't interested. Exactly. Basically, all you really gotta do is be honest, and then if anything happens after that, it's like, again, like you should have specified in the beginning, like, are you doing this for anything in return? Because like I'm not giving you anything in return. Maybe you should have specified. But at the same time, yeah, like she never said that she will, so she never said she wouldn't, but she never said that she will either. So it's like you maybe could have known that probably nothing's gonna come of this. It's just me helping somebody, but I get it. Like sometimes you want something in return. Some people just do it because they're nice, and some people do want something in return. Again, it is really hard for guys to get girls, so I'm not excusing his behavior. He definitely shouldn't have done what he did, but sometimes it is hard for guys to just get a girl, get a date, get someone to like them, so it really can be difficult, so I get it. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like. Comment down below all your guys' thoughts on each story, number 1, 2, and 3. Let me know. Because honestly, this was a horrifying video. Honestly, like the first story was the worst. And after the first story, I was like, how are these next two gonna be? Still scary, but not as scary as the first one. Except seeing some random guy at your house at 1 a.m. That's a little bit scary too. So I can't lie. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Well, thanks for tuning in to Damian, and I will see you guys in the next video. Deuces. Peace.